Good morning. It is 4:51, and we take on a Monday morning a good close look at markets with Bryce Knorr of Farm Futures. Good morning, Bryce.
Well, good morning, Mick.
How are we starting the week?
Well, mixed. We have soybeans and wheat a little higher in the overnight trade. Corn, a couple pennies lower. So fairly choppy so far. Waiting to see what the crop progress report says this afternoon and how that weather forecast shapes up for the next couple weeks.
Is the market going to start looking at the detrimental effect that weather is having on the crop?
Yes, especially in terms of the slow planting progress for soybeans in several of the key states, including Kansas and Missouri. They were way behind last week. Kansas had better weather for planting soybeans last week. Missouri stayed fairly wet, and looks like the forecast for Missouri moving forward is going to be wet as well. So that will put a lot of attention on next week's acreage report. Of course, the data from that was collected earlier in the month, so it won't reflect a lot of the wetter weather we've seen, which likely will keep the trade kind of up in the air as to just how many acres will or won't get planted.
You know, Bryce, over the weekend I observed some planting. I assume it was soybeans, next to some almost headed out spring wheat. Some soybeans were going in the ground just north of Fargo. So going to be a crazy fall, it looks like.
Right, and again, we don't get as much of a yield impact with soybeans as we do with corn from the late planting, but that'll be another question you'll hear people starting to talk about.
All right. What else do you see affecting the markets this week?
Well, again, we're going to be getting ready for those acreage reports. Also, the grain stocks report for soybeans could indicate that the 2014 crop was smaller than previously estimated. That's a question that's been kicking around the trade now really for the last 6 months. USDA won't make a definitive ruling on that, but they will provide at least a few clues. We also have expiration of July options on Friday. That could keep things fairly choppy into the end of the week.
All right. And again, that end of the month crop report, what is the biggest numbers you'll be looking at?
Well, going to be looking at just the final plantings for corn and soybeans, and then the grain stocks, especially for soybeans.
All right. Quickly, the livestock markets this week.
Well, we should see higher cattle prices today based on that cattle on feed report that came out on Friday. It showed lower marketings, lower placements. A lot of cattle moving off into the pastures. They're in much better shape, and heifers being held back for breeding. So that should give us a higher trade in cattle this week.
All right, Bryce Knorr, Senior Market Analyst at Farm Futures. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Time is 4:54. Coming up next, a check of the forecast and a preview of what's coming up next on the Valley Today.